fellow heroes. We're doing something new today. This year, at the beginning of the year, I told myself every game that I play, I want to make a video of some sort. Whether it's a 101 video where I just tell you guys my first impressions, or it's a full-on review. And that was kind of hard. There was a lot of games that I played this year, and of them, these are some of the games that I never really made a video of. So I just wanted to talk about them. I took notes, and we're gonna kind of go through them, and I'm gonna try to keep it as brief as I can, because I know if I don't have a script, I can ramble, and the goal is to keep this under an hour. But let's go ahead and get started into it. For the most part, I tried to order these in like the time I played them throughout the year based off of memory, so they might be out of order, but it's basically oldest to newest, essentially. The first Berserker Kazan. I played a lot of this in the beginning of the year, and then I got distracted, ended up playing some other stuff. Never beat this game. But it didn't mean I didn't have a bad time playing it. This is a heavy combo-based game, so it felt a lot like Stellar Blade, where you got to just like pop off on people, kind of like how my cat's popping off right now behind me. And I like those fast-paced Souls-light or like games. I think this one's going to be more in the category of Souls-like? I don't know. I'm not entirely sure of how this one stands in terms of Souls-like or light, but it's similar. It's definitely hard, which is kind of what took me. It is long, and it took me a while to beat it because of how hard it was, but there was a joy in learning combos and learning how to fight bosses. I loved getting into a new boss fight and then just going to town on it, or learning how to outmaneuver the boss in many different ways. So first Berserker Kazan, I had a good time. I thought about going back to it. I didn't love it enough personally. This isn't really a critique on the game, but I didn't love it enough to like force myself to go back to it like I have with other games. I remember this guy right here. This guy took me so long to beat, but it was around this guy that I really was like, okay, boss mechanics, memorizing, be patient. You really got to take care of yourself. You got to worry. It forces you to worry about defense just as much as you have to worry about offense. You can't just go into it full-on button mashing, comboing people. And this was the first game where I really went like a big, heavy sword. Usually I play like a rogue, but this game I played like a berserker. I played like a freaking barbarian warrior with a giant two-handed sword. Some things that, again, what might take people away from it is that the game is hard. The story's kind of forgettable. I mean, it's a story of revenge. We've seen a lot of that. It's been a very tropey story. I don't think it's a bad story of revenge. I think it has twists and turns, but it is forgettable. It's nothing, this was also before I learned more and more about writing, because there are some things. This was before I read like a book that helped me become a better writer, so I wasn't paying attention to the story in ways that I do now as a critic. But there still wasn't much memorable things in it besides like the Shield Maiden girl that I thought was, I was simping for. And then you have to go in and fight her, and it's that was probably the most memorable moment of the story for me. Other than that, you're a Viking that wants revenge, and you call upon the use of a spirit to give you that ability to get your revenge. I didn't like how gear kind of worked in this game. Gear was the game is very linear, so when you're going through levels and you're fighting creatures and you're fighting enemies, it's not like an open world. It very much tells you what path you should go on. You go down that path and you fight whatever's in your way. You get to a checkpoint. You do that until you reach the boss. I prefer that type of gameplay. To be fair, like Mass Effect is one of my favorite games of all time. It's hard for me to really personally enjoy open world games, but I still end up enjoying them. But linear games are really good, and if you can make a linear game really fun and engaging, even better. But for this one, when they did armor, all the armors were attached to like a weapon, and whatever weapon you use determined your play style. So you just lose a little bit of like player creativity through that. Like, it's very obvious to wear a certain piece of armor with a certain piece of gear. So like if you go down the skill tree for a weapon, you can do specific moves with that weapon, and then when you get a piece of armor, it will buff those specific moves. So it's not like in Elden Ring where I can, dual wield katanas to get extra bleed, and then I can wear heavy armor so I could take less damage because I will just take the hit to get my extra katana strike in rather than just try to dodge it or something like, something silly like that. You can't really push the game and explore the stats that far. The game is very kind of set in its way, and I think that is kind of a setback for the game in itself. You're kind of just like, oh, I'm going to play this way this time, and if I ever play the game again, I'm going to play this way, and you know where to get the armor and things like that. Boss fights are feel more like a repetitive. They feel more repetitive than in like Elden Ring. You can definitely tell or predict what the boss is going to do. It doesn't mean they weren't hard, but it was like, okay, boss is gonna jump up in the air, then this is gonna be the best time I can attack. Boss is gonna, and for the bigger guys, it was cool, but for like the other guys, like the lizard or the other guy I was telling you about 2 seconds before, or even sometimes when you go up against other kind of like knights, they were super fast, and the window to hurt them was very small, and you just had to really get it in. But you could combo bosses. Once you figured out how to like combo bosses, that was good. That was something I never really got to experience in other Souls-like games. Was just staggering a boss and then using my abilities to stagger. And that's what I liked about this game, was that it forced me to play defensively. It forced me to use my abilities. It forced me to play into its combos. It knew how to get me to play the game that they made, and I give it kudos to that. Definitely did not finish the game, but I would give it a solid 8 out of 10 for what I did play. Moving on to the next game, Path of Exile 2. Now this one kind of breaks the rules a little bit. I'm already breaking the rules to my own thing. This one breaks the rules because, before we move on, First Berserk is on. Let's see like how reviewers thought of it, because I want you guys to know what other people thought of it, or what the industry thought of it, kind of what I thought about it. I'm not really going to go into like what people thought about it, other than people liked this game. People enjoyed this game, and I think that's how it's going to go for everyone on this list, is that people had it. Yeah, there's nothing on this list where people just didn't enjoy the game. I think if people didn't enjoy the game, I definitely covered it too, because sometimes it felt like the industry was talking against the people. But yeah, critics, they're on the same page. It looks like it got like an 8 out of 10 for the most part. The First Berserk Kazan is a brutal but impressive Souls-like that makes pushing through its devastating bosses worth the effort. I agree. Despite somewhat samey missions and flat protagonists, Kazan's combat and boss designs are some of the best I've felt in the Souls-like. I like that statement. I do agree with like flat protagonists, just based on his internal and moral conflicts that he has to deal with as a character. But yeah, he's fine. The First Berserker Kazan is a brilliant blend of Souls-like hack and slash genre. Yep, this is what I wanted to see. This is less generic. This is more talking about what you're going to get into. This is a hack and slash Souls-like game. And that's if that's what you like. If you like hack and slash, you like Souls-like, the First Berserker Kazan is what you're going for. An incredible polished product. It is polished. Oh, wow, it does have some shortcomings in its story. Yep, I agree. Replayability and occasionally borrows too heavily from past titles. If you live for actions such as Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, Devil May Cry. Yep. No, this guy right here, This guy right here knows exactly what he's talking about. This review is not as vague and generic, and it tells the consumer exactly what they're getting into, and that is exactly what you're getting into when you're playing First Berserker Kazan. But moving on to Path of Exile, I know Path of Exile has been weird because I played it last year, I think, and then I never made a video on it, and then I played it this year, and so now I'm finally talking about Path of Exile. Basically, man, I really like Path of Exile. This is another game where I never finished the campaign. I'll probably go back. I think about it a lot. A big reason why I never finished the campaign is the characters are just not built the same. Like, I wanted to play as a warrior. I played as a warrior, didn't know what I was doing, really got filtered by one of the early bosses. Then I picked a different class, did freaking awesome. Didn't like the fact that I was playing as a wizard or a sorcerer or whatever, and so I went back to warrior, looked up a guide, then went to town as a warrior, just picking nothing but damage, doing awesome, having fun, feeling challenged, only to get filtered by another boss that made me kind of want to stop playing the game, because it's just like, you play warrior and it's just not as fun. You're not as powerful as some of the other classes. So maybe I'll like get my wife to play Path of Exile with me and have her carry my warrior. That's the if I'm not gonna try to make the meta builds, that's the way it's gonna be. It's more engaging than Diablo, I'll say that much. Like, especially playing Diablo 4, I got bored playing Diablo. Path of Exile 2, I never got bored. I like the mechanics of the enemies. I like that every enemy you run into has like mechanics behind them that you have to be careful of. I don't like the death mechanics. I think death mechanics are just too cheesy in these games. There's so much going on the field of this game that you're kind of like, man, I can't even see that there's poo-poo on the ground. How am I supposed to avoid the poo-poo? But it's one of those things where it's like, okay, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. So it's like, once you know that these characters leave poo-poo on the ground, you kill them and you just start moving away. Whether you see it or not, you just start moving away. And it forces, those types of mechanics do force you to play differently. It makes every level not feel entirely the same with different characters or different enemies you have to play, because essentially, like, that's how it felt with Diablo. I felt like I was doing the same thing. I found the best build for the rogue. I then just started to do the same combo throughout the entire game until I met bosses. Boss fights were decent in Diablo, and I would do that same combo over and over again until I beat the game. It's not the case in Path of Exile. And then the bosses. Oh my gosh, the bosses are so good in that game. It pushes you as a player, pushes you to get stats, pushes you to. This was fun. Elon Musk. The whole Elon Musk story of Path of Exile was really fun for a little bit too. Him paying someone to do stuff. But you can tell, like, the people who make this game really care about this genre. And if you're dedicated to this kind of stuff, you're already playing it. But if you play Diablo and you like those top-down types of games, this is a good game that you could play by yourself and have a lot of fun with it. It's dark and they go in depth and it looks great and it pushes the player, pushes the things. And so Path of Exile, for someone that's a casual at the game, I definitely, it had me playing more. It's disappointing that the classes are kind of just like meh, but it's like an 8 or a 9 out of 10 for me. 8 or a 9 out of 10. I don't know. Yeah, there are Path of Exile reviews. So looks like they got 900%. I do recommend it. Fully recommend it for anyone who's into this type of game. After over 50 hours of Path of Exile 2 early access, I feel I've only scratched the surface. Yeah, it's easy to feel like the story is just the beginning, and then there's the whole end game process, which, again, I'm a casual. I'll probably just play the story and then not, if they ever come up with extended stories, I'll do that again. They did have the thing where they added enemies to the current story, so you got to go back and kind of mess with those guys. Path of Exile 2 redefines action and surprisingly fleshed out endgame. Very fleshed out endgame. I've only seen tons and tons of videos of people talking about endgame. There are some perfectly good reasons to stay clear of Path of Exile 2 until it reaches full release in the future. If you start playing right now, you only get part of the full game, which is crazy. You know, whenever we played this, it was only part of the full game, but it was already so much better than how a lot of full games were being released. So yeah, Path of Exile 2 definitely an 8 or a 9 out of 10. I never got. I think I got to Act 3 or 4 before I got filtered by a boss again. I got past this part for sure. I was like in the desert, and I was done with it. I was basically just fighting a boss, and I just got annoyed. And popped, just got off. Next game, Dune Awakening. I played a lot of Dune Awakening. Dune Awakening's interesting because I don't play these types of games. I never really played these types of games. Personally, they're not games for me. What does that mean? That's the survival genre game. But it had Dune. I kind of recently fell in love with Dune, reading the books, watching the movies. So I had to try it. And I heard good things about this company because they made Conan Exiles. And I was like, okay, we gotta go play Dune Awakening. We gotta try it. My moderator, luckily enough, plays these types of games nonstop. I surprisingly had a great time. There was kind of a beauty in going and like just gathering materials and surviving. There was a fun portion of being a gatherer. It was kind of therapeutic at time, kind of meditative, just sitting there, maybe having Twitch on or something on another monitor, and just gathering resources and building things. And every time, and it was like there was no level in the game. Your level was your whatever gear you had. So if you found yourself just grinding and then just being able to build a bunch of stuff, you got to get ahead. You got to just skip ahead. It let you play at your own pace, which I think was great. A truly good open world game. Weirdly enough, as a single player perspective, I think this is a really great survival game. Getting your first ornithopter, getting your first just like bike, made such a difference. Building a base that suited you, whether it was just a box or whether you were an architect when it came to it all. But this whole like war stuff that they're showing off in the trailer, I mean, obviously it's part of the story. The MMO part of the game, I never really could. I just didn't care for it. It wasn't anything like in WoW or like in any other MMOs where you felt like you could feel the presence of other people. But when you're going to do dungeons or instances or other things, gosh, it just became annoying. And it kind of became annoying to play with friends too, trying to go in dungeons and instances. There would be a struggle where if you got caught out of the instance while your friend was doing stuff, you both wouldn't get it. Or, if you died and you were unable to get revived and your friend picked up something, you then had to wait for it to respawn. And boy, did things take forever to respawn sometimes. And there was just a process of the game where I almost it was nice that I only played it with one other person, because trying to play that game with a bunch of other people, it doesn't feel like it's meant to be played simultaneously at the same time with like a bunch of people. Like if I had a group of 6 people and we were all trying to play at the same time, it felt like it would be more annoying than if I was just playing with 1 or 2 people. So that was the disappointing part. The story and doing stuff in the game, I mean, it's an MMO. Most of the time I don't pay attention to the stories in MMOs. So you're playing for the gameplay most part of it, but the story was it was very forgettable. Like there was nothing about it that I could talk about. I did it to grind and unlock things, and that was interesting, especially since I spent more time in the open world doing things and getting things done and leveling up. So when I went back and did like story missions or faction missions, it was to go back to areas that I was way over geared for, which was nice. I just meant I just got to go in, beat some people up real quick, and then get the things I wanted to and get out. I don't know. So let's see. What do people say about? Oh, let me give my score because I haven't really looked at. For me, it's like a 7 or an 8 out of 10. I never really got to do endgame. Once I got a little taste of endgame, which it was just kind of like more of the building, more of the scavenging, but now you're doing it while people can kill you, or while other players can mess with you, which feels accurate for Dune. I was kind of done. At that point, I was like, all right, I played this genre enough. I've heard from players, from other people, from or other content creators like Shroud and them, that when it comes to survival games, this is one of the better, like it's one of the best ones you could play. So I'm glad if you enjoy Dune aesthetic and you like survival games, try this, check this out, go play it. I'm glad I did. I don't regret it. For me, it's like a 7 or an 8 out of 10, probably leaning more towards 7. I don't know what the reviewers say, but it looks like about 80% recommend it. 4 out of 5. Dune Awakening is a harsh survival game, yeah, and a fierce open world PvP, and engrossing story. And it's one of those things where, like, yes, it is harsh. It does feel like you're on Arrakis. It does feel like you have to worry about water and you have to survive. But the more gear you get, the more easy it becomes, and it becomes less of a. You really do feel yourself grow. You really go from someone who's a nobody to turning into like this guy that can just take on hordes of NPCs, and you feel badass. The combat can be clunky. It's an MMO, but I think the combat's a little too clunky sometimes, especially with me when I was trying to use a sword. And I had this. I spent more time imagining how cool I looked or felt in my head, head lord, than I was in actual game. So if you're a huge fan of Doom, it's going to be easy for you to overlook those issues. I agree. If you're not, or just have passing interest in the lore, you may find it too difficult to get into. I don't know. I think like even just as a survival enthusiast, you might have fun with it. Surprisingly enough, even though the game is put on a desert planet, I felt like the biomes were done uniquely enough to keep you engaged and let you have fun. Dune Awakening thrives in atmosphere, world building, survival depth, even in the combat and grind somewhat drag behind its setting systems. I agree with this. The combat and grind feel like they're made for a different game, or feel like they were an afterthought before they put in the other stuff in there. Because the world, the survival, the gathering, everything else is like well done, but then the combat and grinding for everything is just like, oh man. But you do have to grind. I mean, it's a survival game, so you should expect to grind. But yeah, that's kind of what the reviewers say. I think for the most part, they're being on point. I wish in these small little like reviews they'd give more objective stuff than say all this fluffy writer fluff, but what are you gonna do? Okay, Mega Break. Mega Break is probably gonna be the most controversial one on here. So buckle in. I loved Mega Break. I had a great time with Mega Break. Why is it controversial? I think the launch of the game was actually really, really bad. I think when you launched this game, or when the game launched, there was a lot of issues with I think like the store, the resources, people's stuff was getting reset. It is a free to play game, but a lot of people's progress was messing up. It had a bad launch. It didn't happen to me, but it happened, and I think it happening once is too much. It happened enough that people felt like they had to speak out. What I loved about this game was that it was a mech multiplayer game. You got to go in and just just have a mech fight with people and have just a freaking awesome time doing it. And there are so many different mechs that played so different from one another. It is a hero shooter, essentially. It's a hero mech shooter, which feels good to play. Can be overwhelming if you just jump into it, but they do have a quick and fun tutorial system that challenges you and pushes you to really figure out like the design of a mech that you can go in for each one and do the things you want to do. A lot of people talk. Well, I guess we could talk about the gooning material. One, I think this game proves that men and women alike do not only care about girls with just big boobs. This game had more variety of women in it than I've seen in any other game that has tried to put variety in women. When you go into a lobby and you're sitting there and it shows you every player and it shows you their customized character. I mean, you had tall, small. Matter of fact, I think I saw more average looking proportioned women than I did big booba women's and stuff like that. And you could get weird in the customer characterization. I saw some monstrosities made from this game, but nonetheless, the thing that Games Journal Media focused on when they talked about this game and it sexualizing women ended up just being something to entertain people. Like it ended up not really being that big of a deal. And again, the most variety in women or men made, and all of them attractive in their own way. All of them I'll say it. All of them actually attractive and not made to look like that girl from The Last of Us that's just like brawny and muscular and things like that. They did have like $60 skins, which I'll admit I bought one because I loved the game so much. The game was free to play, so I was like, I don't care. I'm gonna give it my money. I'm gonna simp for this game for a little bit. Though, what do I not like about this game? It is a hero shooter. We'll say shooter, sure. But it lacks in the ability to take on multiple people. You as a player, if you get ganged up on, you're kind of just screwed. If your team is unable to play cooperatively with one another, you are essentially screwed. There is no because it's so hard to kill one mech, because they have shields and they have lives, and some mechs, they have armor that drops off, and then they essentially get a second life that they can don their armor back on. Right here is a great example. It could take a lot of time to kill a mech. The 1v1s, when you're in a 1v1 with someone, those fights can feel great. You can feel like you're going back and forth. You can be almost losing. You can pull out everything that your mech's great at and come out on top. And the 1v1s feel great. And you notice here that a lot of the game is showcasing 1v1s, because that's when the game's at its best. But whenever you have to fight multiple guys, you just lose. There's no. I feel like they need to implement something to I guess like. I can't think of the word. I want to say subjugate, but that's such the wrong word. To fix that, you need a way to handle multiple people, whether that's like giving players ultimates or or giving players an ability to like team up abilities that encourage players to play with each other. They just need to give something to the players so that they can take on multiple people, but not make them overpowered. And there's plenty of games that already do that, like Overwatch, like Marvel Rivals, even other shooters like Halo, Battlefield, for example, or Call of Duty. These are games where 3 people can be in front of you and you can kill all 3 people, right? But still get killed by someone doing something silly or stupid or a random grenade. That's what Mecha Break needs. And it's like the time to kill is so long that it actually hurts the game more than anything else. So Mecha Break for me, it had a bad launch. Also, let's look at the reviews. So review wise, you know, people give it like a 7, or they don't really recommend it. Overwhelmingly monetized. It's a free game, but yeah, being over monetized can suck. There's a lot of customization options, and then there's an extraction part of the game where you can play the extraction part to sell your stuff to then like get money, so then you can grind, so then you essentially don't have to pay a penny into the game. But it sucks. It's like I don't want to play. The extraction portion of the game isn't bad. It's not as good as like Arc Raiders, but it's like it's not what I want to do. I just want to progress through the game, playing through the multiplayer, you know, and enjoy that aspect of the game. And even when you put your stuff out to sell for the extraction shooter, I've sold like 2 things and got like money currency from it. Other than that, nothing else would really sell people, you know. And so you really have to figure out what you need to grind, go grind it, sell it on the market, sell it to the whales, and then make your money. But that just turns into a job, and that's something that I do in World of Warcraft. I'm just not looking to do stuff like that anymore. Mecha Breaks, 15 flavors of mech, all feel great to pilot. I agree with this. It's strategic, twitchy gameplay, has juice to last for a long time. Haul if it plays it smart. Yeah, and I do agree with that. I do agree that like they are 15 different flavors. They're not shades of gray. They do feel completely different from each other. Objectives will be pretty familiar if you've played games like Overwatch. Mecha Break is kind of like a beautiful 8-ounce filet mignon with the fanciest restaurant in town with a thick layer of Hans ketchup. What is this analogy? Still enjoy the steak, but it would be a lot better if the ketchup wasn't there. What are you comparing the ketchup to? Mecha Break evolves classic mecha anime with its exciting multiplayer battles, but the game's free-to-play foibles, among other issues, sour the experience. And I agree. I think like the game feels great. Game feels good, but there's just a bunch of stuff in the game that's like, I just don't care. I do not care to do any of this stuff or want to do any of this stuff, so I'm not going to do it, and it doesn't incentivize me to come back to the game and play it. So I don't. We are going to... I want to pull up Steam, because this mixed reviews. That's recent reviews are mixed, and then mostly positive reviews overall. And I just want to bring this up. Is a dick in the salad, basically. The new King of Mech Combat has arrived, because I think the gameplay feels so good. Not it's pretty fun if you're into mecha games. It has a few modes like PvP. Best mech game I've played in a while. Addictively, I've played the beta, had a lot of fun with it. Really enjoyed the full series, but it would have changed at launch. I like this game. I didn't expect to enjoy this game. Yeah, I think that's like and these are most recently posted things. It is just a fun game to play. It is really just a fun game to play, but I don't think it's something that will keep you, because they don't really have a lot of things that feel retaining or feel like you invest into it. Now, in a day and age where everything is trying to take your time and trying to force you to grind for it, I think it's okay to have a game that doesn't force you to grind for it. But what I mean by keeping you, I mean like it's not crazy fun like Battlefield where, oh man, that feeling of getting a sniper shot across the map and it's like over 150 meters, or that feeling of holding down a point and you got like a 10 kill streak, or that feeling of getting in a plane and taking out every other plane in the match and killing tanks with your plane. That you don't, the only feeling you get in Mecha Break is I had a really cool 1v1 with someone and came out on top. That's the downside of Mecha Break. Once you realized, oh, this is the height of the height of the game is so much lower compared to other games that you fall away from it. So Mecha Break for me is like a 6 or a 7 out of 10. I love it. I don't necessarily miss it. Next, we're going to talk about 2XKO. I breaking another rule with this one because I technically already made a video for 2XKO. But that was for the beta. This is more for launch, and I played the game way more. I love this game. Wow, boy, do I love this game. I It's been a while. I haven't really gotten into a fighting game since Injustice 2. Now, I still buy or played some with some buddies, but I never really practiced or did it because I started doing this, and I love doing this, and I have fun doing this, and it gives me motivation and drive to play all types of video games. So, no, I don't spend 16 hours a day anymore just practicing combos and going online and fighting against people, but 2XKO kind of allows me to be that filthy casual fighter, allows me to be that filthy casual gamer, and I love it. It's easy to get into. It's fun to get into. You can jump in, and learn combos, and then go and take those combos into the game, and you can teach yourself. Give yourself about an hour, 2 hours, just practice. Go to sleep on it, wake up the next day, get back in there. You're going to be doing 50% combos. There are some easy 50% combos out there that you can do. I've never really been the biggest fan of tag fighters just because I don't want to learn more characters, but shoot, I'm loving this one, and I like Marvel vs. Capcom. So the next portion that I need to learn is getting my two fighters to essentially like tag each other in and out and continue a combo. Because right now what I do is I play Jinx and Vi. I have a 50%. I play Jinx. I've been simping for these two since freaking middle school. These were the first pops I ever bought. They've been on my desk ever since. I've been simping for them ever since I started freaking League of Legends in middle school. So I'm glad that they've kind of become the discount poster child of the franchise. But no, I play Jinx and Vi, and I have a 50% combo with Jinx. I got a 50% combo with Vi, and then I got I have a 90% combo for both of them where I use their ultimates, like their level 3 ultimates. If you just casually want to get into fighters, yeah, this is the game to hop into and to play. The downsides, the character roster is really small. It's like really small, especially compared to fighters these days. I don't know, I can't even remember. It's less than 10 characters. They have been steadily trickling in and announcing new characters, but with the game right about to come out, like you're not getting much. See, this is what I need to learn. This is the next step, using Jinx and Vi in a combo like that, and it just keeps going. This is great. This is the next portion, which also brings me to the downside of this game. This game is easy to get into. Wow, wait, hold on. I'm gonna distract myself real quick because did this guy just beat? Is this 100% combo? Oh my, that's like a 99.99% combo right there. I think that was 100% because he is in training mode. I need to learn that. We're just gonna bookmark that real quick. We're gonna bookmark that and keep that on the for myself. That's a future Mario problem that I have to deal with. But the downside to it being so casual friendly is it's that much easier for sweats to go in. I think when the early access of the game launched and I was playing it, Sonic Fox went on ranked and did 100 wins in a row. He did it pretty quick too. So you will run into people that just really know how to play this game and can frustrate you. But that's the thing about fighting games that I love about fighting games, and anyone who plays fighting games can probably say the same thing, is you play fighting games because you level up. Like you don't play in the metas, even though you could just pick the best characters and give yourself an edge, but you could also pick the worst characters and continue to slap people around. You don't rely on metas. You don't rely on like abilities or gunplay or attachments, or it's just you. and you don't rely on teammates. Well, in this case you can, because 2XKO, your tag-in partner can be your teammate, which I did with a buddy, and it's pretty fun, you know. And then, you know, you could have we with my buddy's birthday, we had like 3 of us or 4 of us sitting there, and you had 2 people on one team, 2 people on the other team, and so now it's like 4 people playing a fighting game all at once and working together and just doing silly, stupid stuff and having fun with it. But yeah, everything comes down to the player. Everything comes down to, you need to level up, you need to grind, you need to practice, you need to work on your defense. You need to figure out what pokes to start your combo in, and it's all conditioning, and it's something that, like, I still, if I have 30 minutes before my bedtime, I'll just turn it on real quick and play it. And so I have a lot of fun with 2XKO. Did I miss anything on it? No, easy to get into, small character roster. I don't know. It's like a 8 or a 9 out of 10 for me. I'm not in the fighting game scene as much as other people are. So like, I know I struggled getting into Street Fighter, even though I love Street Fighter. I played that with my dad as a kid a lot. And I used to be decent at Street Fighter. I never got really good at it, but decent enough. But this one is less about timing. The reason it was easy for me to get into this is because it is like Injustice, where you do get to kind of like put in your inputs, and then you could put in the next input before, you know, your previous one finished, and your character will continue doing that. So unlike Street Fighter, where there is that, you have to have the timing down in Street Fighter, and timing is everything. And I still think, respect and appreciate Street Fighter for that. But as a casual, this game allowed me to enjoy my love for fighting games while still being able to play other games as well, and not have to sit there and grind. And I think for the fighting community, that's a good thing. Is, you know, we talked about retention with Mecha Break. You want that. You want to keep player retention, not through FOMO, but through just like game mechanics, through like making a game that's easy to learn but hard to master, making a game that makes you just feel so good about getting 50% combos, and that you won, and you want to get those experiences, or you've seen someone else do you've learned Jinx and Vi, and now I want to learn Yasuo, right? I want to add Yasuo and Ahri to my roster, and since I already have combos with Jinx and Vi, I've already ranked up to plat with them, let me go ahead and just like pick up 2 other characters and have fun with them, and see how high I can rank with those characters. And so as the roster grows, it gives, you know, make the game fun, make the game so fun that people just can't help but return to it. Yeah, so it's like a 8 or a 9 out of 10 for me when it comes to this. I don't think there's any reviews for it because the game technically hasn't even come out yet. But talking about games so fun you can't help to return, Battlefield 6. Oh my gosh, if there's anything I love more than fighters, it's shooters. I love shooters, guys. This is my bread and butter. Like, I grew up, I think the first game I really played with my dad was Halo. First game I really, you know, shooters, Call of Duty, Halo, Gears of War, man. And this game is so fun. You can't help but just want to play more of it. This is what I've been going back to recently. This is what I've been playing on my free time with my wife. And it's just moments like this. Look at this. The helicopter just goes right under the crane as it breaks. Like, those are moments just created naturally in the game. I can't get enough of Battlefield 6. It's stupid fun. I made a video talking about like what a shooter needs in order for it to be good. Why shooters haven't been that great recently. What's been keeping them behind. And there were 3 points I talked about. I said gunplay had to be first. You had to feel like a hero. You had to feel like you could take on the entire team yourself. You could eat, but at the same time be taken out by just like some dude who doesn't know what he's doing. And then I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I kind of forgot the 3rd point. I'd have to go back and remind myself what the 3rd point is. But those 2 points are definitely prevalent in this game right here. And gunplay is first. gun. This isn't a mobility shooter. This isn't about running around, sliding. They've nerfed it on launch. They went out of their way and nerfed the mobility even more, so that you do have to be about positioning and shooting and getting, making sure your gun's out and you're not just running around with your knife all the time, pulling it out. It feels great every time you get a kill, every sound effect that happens, the shenanigans that go along with it. This is a game that does one of the best jobs at making team play so prevalent in the game. I don't think I've played another shooter. I think it's been a while since I've really played a shooter that made my squad feel so impactful in such a large lobby. You if you are the top squad in the lobby, you've done some work. You've truly made a difference, and you can make a difference in this game. I love that you, as the character, you are the kill streak. Playing as a recon, I was disappointed because of the beta. You had the spawn beacon for you. I was disappointed that was gone. And but I still found ways to make myself super useful. When I see my team is trying to take a point, when I see a lot of team members are going to take a point, I pull out that recon drone and I start marking everybody around the area. Oh my gosh. And then just watching as my team knows where all the enemies are at and starts taking them out systematically is like, I am the UAV, right? I made that bit of a sacrifice, ending the game with over 40 assists because I'm doing stuff like that, because I'm choosing to win over choosing to feed my ego. But if I do want to feed my ego, yeah, I'll run in there as assault, or I'll run in there as recon and just go in there and get kills, right? I love piloting in this game. I love getting on planes and taking out other planes and just and going to town on everything. There's not a lot of bad things I could say about this game. Maybe the guns progression feels slow, which is fine. I mean, it's not like you're going to be... if there is a prestige, I'm not going to be doing it because, I am turned into kind of a casual gamer. But it's just one of those games where... Sorry. It's one of those games where I love it every time I play it. And then when Kate's home and we're like, hey, what game should we play together? We have all these games that we might want to play. I'm thinking of playing Path of Exile with her. I'm just like, Battlefield? And she's like, yeah, Battlefield. And we just go back and we play more Battlefield. That's what just ends up happening. We just go back and we play more Battlefield. Other than the fact that, I think there was a lot of nerfs from the beta, but I think the beta was to showcase just how strong you can essentially get in the game. And that, to me, is better. Better to showcase that. Better to showcase what it looks like when you're fully leveled up. I'm not the biggest fan of having to get the challenges done, but they're fine. That's just a personal pet peeve. I kind of just want to level up and get my stuff, but having to do the stem pack with the assault character and having to get that every time and think about that is fun at times, but then when there's so many times I have to do it, I get annoyed with myself because I'm not doing it, or I'm taking it out and I'm like, I should have used the stemmy there. Even right here, I didn't even use the stemmy because I was like, I gotta get these picks off of these guys real quick. So but I think that's less about the game and more of just how much there is to do. How much there is to do. So this game does prove that shooters don't have to be about FOMO. You don't have to put celebrity skins in them. You don't have to put American Dad or any other characters in the game, because they themselves are still fun. And if you make a shooter that focuses on gunplay, that focuses on making you feel like a hero, that allows you to be tactical and allows you to think outside of there you go, allows you to think outside of what's going on, than just run and gun or because mobility shooters, I think they're less about shooting and they're more about just like how well can you break dance around each other, how well can I outmaneuver this guy, how well can I shock this guy and get the better kill out of him, right? Whereas this is none of that. It's like, hey, my aim was better, therefore I beat you. My aim, my grit was better, therefore I beat you, and that's all you need. That's all you need to play a game like this. Though that guy did just kill me through a slide, so good for him. Anyways, Battlefield 6, easily a solid 9 out of 10. I'll probably do like a more in-depth review of it, but I know I just didn't end up talking about it. Yeah, I'll try to do a more in-depth review. But I definitely wanted to put this together to make sure I can get... Oh, what did reviewers say about Battlefield 6? Make sure, because this year I want to do a like top 10 games of the year. And I wanted to really like sit down and think about this stuff while I was doing it. Yeah, people seem to be, it averages around 80-90% critics. Battlefield 6 is explosive FPS with adrenaline fueled. Battlefield 6 is more about refinements than surprises. It's exactly what I mean by mobility shooters. But a well-made Battlefield is automatically one of the best shooters of the year. Easily. Battlefield 6 delivers a thrilling multiplayer reset. And honestly, I would almost give this game a 10 out of 10. What's stopping me from giving this game a 10 out of 10? I don't know. I haven't sat down and really thought about it a lot. I just kind of jotted some notes of things that I liked and didn't like. And I didn't really go crazy in depth. So for all intents and purposes, I want to give this game a 10 out of 10, but we just have to see. I've had such a good time learning the maps, mastering weapons, discovering quirks, Battlefield 6. I can't wait to see how live service models roll out. Yeah, it's just been great. There's little to complain about other than like personal things. I think the most complaints I've seen about Battlefield 6, really the only complaints I've seen about Battlefield 6 has been people upset about the mobility. So it isn't really a critique on the game's merits, but more so a critique on preference. They just prefer the game to be a different way. And while I could say that about like Dune Awakening, I still try to critique a game based on what it's trying to give me and not what I prefer. Open the horizons. Test out your taste buds. You know what game is a 10 out of 10? And I'll just come out the boat swinging saying it. Megabonk. Megabonk's easily a 10 out of 10 game. Megabonk is a example of indie games doing absolutely wonderful, crushing it. You know, video games made by gamers, not by activists, not by idealists, it's just games made by gamers. And Megabonk is so great. It's so good. Again, this is a game that's not really something I'm into, but I have fun every time I play it. It's not my preferred game is what I'm trying to say, but I have so much fun every time I play these games like this. I think the first one I ever played was like Vampire Survivors. So Megabonk it doesn't have a story. Games don't need a story. Games can just be pure and absolute fun. And it's balanced in the way that it's such a simple game in the sense that the game auto attacks for you. The game makes it drops loot, and there's just different auto attack functions, and there's different ways you can build your character, and you can have fun building characters certain ways. You can min-max characters, you can challenge yourself and do a non-optimal build. It's so, and then there's different levels with different enemies with different, and it's just, there's so much that was put into this game that it totally deserves the praise it was getting. I mean, this game blew up. What's sad? Look at this. There's no reviews for this game. I don't understand how a game could be so popular. I don't understand how a game could blow up so well. If I look up Steam charts, Megabonk. Take your time. No one. Look at this. I mean, this game peaked at 100,000 players for an indie game made by, I could be wrong about this, but made by one person. I mean, even in the last 24 hours, it's kept over half of its player base. I mean, right now, it's kept half of its player base. This is huge. This is such a good game. Look at this. Look at this line on this graph. It's just if you were to draw just a single line, it's a steady, almost straight line. It is steadily going down, but that's the life of every game. That's the life of every game. But this is what it looks like consistently right now. You know, you max it out. Yeah, it blew up. And then it slowly died down. And it's going to continue to slowly die down. I mean, this isn't a game that's going to last forever like Skyrim. But this is the power of indie games. And I'm glad that indie games are making AAA studios like Assassin's Creed Shadows look bad. You know what? Maybe I should do a top 10 worst games of this year. I don't know if I have enough. I'll have to look through everything I played this year, and then I'll have to we can do some dishonorable mentions on the top 10 video. But Megabonk's great. Pure fun, pure gameplay, very thought out of. It's full of like memes and jokes and pop culture references, and it's full of just cool stuff. It caters to video games, to gamers, because it was made by a gamer. You know, and this is one of those games that I showed to my 10-year-old sister, and she immediately fell in love with it and just plays it and comes to me every time she unlocks a new character. And she doesn't even read her stats. She just picks whatever looks cool. She does the rule of cool, and she still beat the boss. She still got something out of it. I think that's the beauty of this game. You can play however the hell you want to play it and have a good time doing it. So Megabonk, that's an easy 10 out of 10. Go play it. It's cheap. Go try it out. If it's not for you, totally get it. It's not a game that it's not. These aren't my favorite types of games, but I do appreciate them. I do, and this is one of those games where it's like, I don't know if you guys have this, where you they're like, it's like, oh, this is a great handheld game. This is one of those games where oh, I'm at the airport waiting to be boarded, or I'm at my family. It's like Thanksgiving. I'm hanging out at my grandma's house at my family's. I'm just playing this while dinner. The turkey's an hour away from being done, and everyone's watching sports balls on the TV. This is just one of those games that is a great handheld game. Good for killing time, but one of the best killing time games ever. I've played this off stream and just enjoyed it, and I want to play more of it. So 10 out of 10. Easy 10 out of 10. Let's move on to another game. This one also doesn't have reviews because it's technically not out yet. So I might have time to do a full review of it. It comes out in 2 days, Arc Raiders. I played it. This is another game that's out of my comfort zone. I don't really play survival extraction shooters. That's what it's called. I don't really play extraction shooters. It's fun though. I was surprised at how much fun I had with it. Again, all these games are actually good games that can be recommended to play. Maybe the most controversial one would be Mecha Break. I would still recommend it though, because it is free, and you'll probably have fun with it for 10 hours. Anyways, enough about Mecha Break. In terms of extraction shooters, I like watching people play extraction shooters. Actually, I used to watch YouTube Rust videos and things of that nature. Just hearing the stories that people would run into and the things that they would create, and I found it so fascinating. I didn't want to do it. I don't have the patience for it. It's just not for me. I like getting in there, getting stuff done, getting out. So games like this never catered to me because of how much time and effort you got to put into it. which makes me sound lazy, which is probably the big reason. I bet if I played Rust, I'd like it, or Tarkov. But I played Ark. I said, hey, it's a new shooter. It's a new extraction shooter. I've always been interested in extraction shooters. I've never gone on my way to do it. I never had any friends that wanted to play it. I'm just going to play this one by myself and see how it is. This was a great introduction to extraction shooters for me, I'd say. That kind of jump in, jump out experience. This is what this game gives you. This game gives you that jump in, jump out experience. And then you get to have unique interactions. I think the most unique interaction I had of the short time that I played it was, in fact, like, this guy was trying to kill me, but then we were getting swarmed by robots. I killed him. He was like, he started speaking in chat. He was like, dude, I got no loot. He's like, Godspeed, brother, get out of here. This guy who wanted my loot, who went out of his way to try to kill me, who was getting chased by robots. I was getting chased by robots. We fought each other. I took him down, and he was just like, Godspeed, brother. Save yourself. Run. That was just such a unique experience I've never had in any game ever. The only other time I ever made a friend in a video game was when I was playing The Division, and The Division had an extraction shooter portion in it, and I made a friend doing that. It's just a random dude. We were getting so annoyed by everyone shooting each other at the extraction point, because that game had a very small map for the extraction, so it was easy to just like go attack people who were trying to extract. We teamed up, we kept reviving each other, we kept working together, and I made a friend, and we were like, dude, screw those people. Yeah, let's play this again. Only time. The other time I've ever made a friend online was Classic WoW. So I think there's something to say about like putting yourself in a hard situation and then finding an ally through that hard situation. And this is hard. It's so hard that like it discourages me from playing it. I'm like, oh, I just don't want to go through this again. I'm so sick of people sneaking up behind me and shooting me. I'm so sick of almost extracting and a big robot shows up and just messes me up. I'm sick of how the guns don't feel as crazy powerful as I want them to feel. But then at the same time, when I get a gun that's powerful, I'm like, oh yeah, this feels nice. I want to extract with this. I want more of this gun. I want to play this game so I can just make this gun and unlock it myself. I love sneaking up behind someone and killing them and taking their stuff. I love taking on a big robot and deleting it and taking the stuff that I need from it. Everything I hate about this game, I also love about this game. I hate that it happens to me. That's the thing that this game does, and I think that's the addictive part of extraction shooters, is that you're dreaming of being that character, that cowboy that takes everyone out and getting out with the best loot and just overcoming it all. And it's almost like a fighting game in that sense, that like you have to do it. You bring in your own unique set of skills to make it happen. I need to play more of it to be more critical about it. So this is really just like kind of like more like a vibes feeling check, especially someone who's so new to extraction shooters and who's only dabbled in it from here and there. I can see myself this being the one that I like. My biggest critique, though, is kind of a shallow one. The game's kind of ugly. And I'm not talking graphically. I'm just talking like aesthetically. Like, I mean, I get that we're in like a post-apocalyptic Skynet rules the world now. But you gotta have better drip. I mean, Fallout has better drip than this game does. Like, there were outfits that I was okay with. I was like, yeah, okay, I can work with this. There was never an outfit where I was like, yeah. The only thing I ever really wanted was like the cowboy hat. Other than that, I did not care for how this game looked. This game, the robots look better than us for the most part. And oh, that was cool. That's a cool particle effect. Watch out, Starfield. Arc Raiders is coming for your potatoes. Yeah, that's my biggest complaint, is the game just looks ugly. It's hard. It's really hard. It's an extraction shooter. It's very niche. There's nothing wrong with niche games, but you know, I'm just saying it's free to play. It's going to be free to play. So if you're going to play this game, try it. At least try it. You're going to it's going to kick you in the balls. This isn't a game that just smacks your butt like Souls games do. This game is nuts or all. Nuts or nothing else. That's what this game is. So character models making this game looked ugly. Clothes look ugly. Aesthetically, it just wasn't pleasing. But I have no doubt that it will create some very memorable moments, some very crazy, over the top, subtle moments. Because I did play games like Elite Dangerous where I don't mind the slowness of the game for those crazy high 200%, 500% moments that differ among everything else. And like when you think of you think of games like Battlefield where it's like it's consistently keeping you at like a 70 to 100% high. There's like a consistency of that. Maybe a drop down to like 50 whenever you die and you have to like run back to the objective. Games like these keep you at like a 30%, 20% lull, but then they will just rocket you to 150%, 200% of like experience, and that experience keeps you going. It's like it's like getting a hit. It's a drug that hits you so hard, hits you so high that you want to get it again, and you dream about that high. But yeah, good game. I give it like a 7 or an 8 out of 10. It's good. Good time. Last one, and I'm kind of being lazy here doing this one, but Ninja Gaiden 4. Ninja Gaiden 4 has been a lot of fun. I usually do a 101 on a video on a game. Every time I was gonna do a 101, I kept feeling like I was like really close to beating the game. So I was like, oh, I might as well just do a review instead of just doing a 101. But anyways, that ended up, so this is where this comes in. I just ended up putting the 101 in this. I'm currently playing this. I'm going to try to beat it. If not today, tomorrow, I'm going to try to beat it. I'm based on the story, it feels like I'm at the end. This game feels like Ninja Gaiden 2 Black. I've only ever played one other Ninja Gaiden game. Now, growing up as a kid, Ninja Gaiden was a game that I always wanted to freaking play. I always wanted to go and play Ninja Gaiden. Never got around to it. Not that my parents said no. I just think like I was always distracted by other games that were coming out. This game, though, let me talk about the good. Let me get the bad out of the way. Let's get the bad out of the way, then I'll start like praising this game. I think if I'm going to critique this game is that it doesn't have a lot of the entertaining features that Black had. And a lot of people say that Black was like the best Ninja Gaiden game. And like when it comes to entertainment, I never got to have a moment where I played as like a different character, as one of like the sexy girls, or I never had a moment where you know like in Devil May Cry where you switch between Dante and Nero and Virgil. Like there was never a moment of that. And there was also, I kept on thinking I was going to go in between this new protagonist and Ryu, but I didn't. And that was disappointing. I think with these hack and slash games, that's almost like a trope. It's almost like a staple that I see as a missed opportunity. I was worried going into this game that I was going to play it and it was going to be like Halo 5, where you see Master Chief, but you never get to play as Master Chief. And that's kind of what happened. I'm not saying the game is bad because of it, but I do think that if this game was made 10 years ago, 15 years ago, that wouldn't have happened. and they are pushing this character, and maybe they didn't want to hurt Ryu as a character. And I will say they have gone out of their way to show a lot of respect for the legacy characters. And good on them for doing that. But when it comes down to jumping back and forth and that type of entertainment that came with the game, that I forgot the gentleman's name that recently passed away and helped pioneer the Ninja Gaiden series. Let me just look him up real quick. I think it's like Itagaki. Itagaki. Mr. Itagaki, his way of thinking in entertaining the consumer, we missed that, and a lot of that. I'm actually working on a video to kind of honor his memory and things like that, because he was someone that went under the radar for me. I didn't realize how much of influence he had in the gaming industry until he passed away, and how much of that has been lost in a lot of recent video games. But Ninja Gaiden 4 brings a lot of it back. That is probably the biggest critique I can give the game, is that you don't get to go and play as a sexy chick, and I'll probably explain that more in my full review. But basically, it's an entertainment factor that I never really thought of until I played hack and slash games like these, like Devil May Cry, and and it doesn't necessarily have to be a hot chick. I would have been completely okay if it was Ryu Hayabusa. I would have preferred that, actually. So, but let's talk about the game itself and the game's merits, and what the game does have is really, really freaking good. I want to let you know, I've been playing Ghost of Yotai to get it done so I could put a full review out for Ghost of Yotai. And playing this in between Ghost of Yotai has, oh my gosh, it just makes me dislike Ghost of Yotai even more. This game is all about keeping you engaged and just in the moment for action to action to action. I mean, like, to do a counter in this game is you hit the person right before they hit you. You can block, and it's all about preemptive. It's like, okay, seeing what the enemy is going to do and preemptively being ready to do it. Not reactive, preemptive. And that adds a level of difficulty to the game that, like, is weird, because this game feels easy. This game looks easy. And then you play it and you're like, what am I doing wrong? How am I dying? Why am I struggling with this? And it's this thing where it's like the characters, whenever you play, like, even this happens a little bit in Ghost of Yotai, not all the time, but like where the characters will just stand still and watch you combo off on their friend. They don't do this in this game. They will come at you. They will come at you with everything they got. And I think that's the fun part about this game, is like, you really are pushed to get the guy that's all by himself, stay away from the group, because if you don't, you're gonna get grouped out. You're gonna get teamed up on and ganged up on. I love the control schemes. I love that switching between weapons is super fast, super convenient. You're not pressing a button to slow down time to switch between weapons. I like that there is no increased damage. Now this is to me is a buff compared to like Ninja Gaiden Black, the second one. Is there is no increase. Look at this piece of hair that just won't go down. It's just up there. I'm just gonna keep it up now as like a meme. We're just gonna force it to stay up now. That's my bed head. I didn't fix it this morning. We didn't, you in Ninja Gaiden Black, you can increase the damage of a weapon. This one, there is no increased damaging of weapons. That's Ryu Hayabusa. I think you get to play as Ryu Hayabusa in this game, which is so weird because I feel like I'm almost done with this game. What the heck is going on here? Okay, spoilers. Spoilers for me, spoilers for you guys. Hey, that's why this is a first impressions. More Ryu Hayabusa? Oh no, this is no, that's Ryu Hayabusa. That's a Ryu Hayabusa move. I recognize that move. I recognize these monsters. Wait a second. That's a demon you fight in Ninja Gaiden Black. I wonder if this is like endgame content, like play as Ryu Hayabusa and get to do some of the survival missions. Huh. Well, I'm excited now. I was like, dude, I'm about to finish this story, so I feel like this game's gonna be up. Speaking of story, the story is fundamentally decent. It's not over the top. It's not like it's not gonna go out of the way to make you fall in love with it, but it does everything it needs to do for a writer. As like if you're going to write something, this game does all the stuff correctly. And it is, I have no complaints at all for the story. Could it be better? Yes. Does it need to be better? No, not at all. I won't even say it does the bare minimum, but it follows all the rules you need it to follow for any basic writing. For any basic writing to be good. And I talk about that, and I'll probably put out I'm changing up my Gaming 101 videos so that they are more insightful, and they do follow more of like my thoughts and explain things. So like the whole idea is I teach you how to look for good stuff, so that way it saves you time and money in the future. But yeah, the combat constantly keeps you engaged. There's nothing that takes you away from the combat. There's only 4 weapons, unlike in Ninja Gaiden Black, where you had like 12 weapons, which was insane. But each one of them feels good and strong. There's like this Blood Raven form where every weapon has like a second form to it that does a heavy attack. So you have basically a horizontal attack and a vertical attack where you can launch enemies up or hit easier to hit single target enemies. But then when you go into Raven stance, that's when you basically do heavy attacks, and you have a bar that allows you to that limits how much you can hit those Raven stance, because they do massive amounts of damage. And so it's this balance, this beautiful balance between like resource management and countering characters, because characters will block your attacks, and the only way to get through them is to use your Raven blood things. And so you want to make sure you always have some of that gauge filled up so that you can break their stance, but also you can counter unblockable attacks by them, which is cool. So there's never a point in the game where a boss just does something and you're stuck being like, oh crap, I gotta just dodge this, or no. Every part of this game is designed for you to feel powerful and good, but you just have to pull it off. It doesn't just give it to you for free every time, and I love that that's what I love about this game, is it does feel like Ninja Gaiden Black. When I went to go play it earlier this year, or may have been last year, when I played Ninja Gaiden Black, I was worried. I was truly, truly worried that I was going to not like it because it was an old game. But it ended up being one of my favorite hack and slash games I've ever played before. So for this game to feel like that, but also have its own design to it, is great. I think I prefer Ninja Gaiden Black, in all honesty. I just feel like that game had more to offer. I think this game has a better story, slightly by like half a point. Their stories are kind of similar in the sense of how the protagonists act and do things and what they're challenged internally conflicted with. But the game's good. Is there anything that I missed? Story solid. Lost some of the entertaining, fast paced. Yeah, it's fast paced. It's easy for like games like Tomb Raider, Ghost of Yotai, Assassin's Creed Shadows. It's easy for those games to really have traversal areas that, and I know it's funny because I know those aren't hack and slash games like how this is a hack and slash game, but I'm comparing it to them because they kind of feel like they're just open world hack and slash games. It's easy for those games to put traversal areas in and they feel like loading screens. Whereas this one has moments where they feel like loading screens, but then like they teach you the basic of it, like grinding on the rails, kind of like how you're playing Sonic the Hedgehog. And then it turns into like this rhythm game where it's like, all right, jump, duck, break, jump, duck, break, jump, duck, break. And it's like they put it in different things and you have to keep up with it. It's not consistent with how challenging those movement systems are, but every time you go into a movement system, the second you're about to be bored with it, they put you into something to do. They put you something else to do. And I think that is the presence of, like, I think that's the legacy of Itagaki, is that he is someone that would push the limits of the hardware, push the limits of entertainment, always just try to make sure that you bought this game to have fun, so I'm going to make sure you have fun, which is what Ninja Gaiden 4 really does. I mentioned this earlier and then I got distracted. There is no increased damage for weapons. There are only gaining combos and new special attacks for weapons, which is really cool because they can be used in very specific scenarios. So it does turn into a fighting game where it's less about the characters getting strong and more about the players getting stronger. And that is so cool because, again, I'm playing this parallel to Ghost of Yotai. In endgame Ghost of Yotai, you get kind of broken and busted, and to the point where I felt really strong for a whole 10 minutes in Ghost of Yotai, but then got bored with how strong I was. Almost felt like I was using a cheat code with how strong I got. But in this game, I'm really technically super strong with how many abilities I have available to me, but am I using them? And when I do start using them, and I do start popping off, I'm not getting bored because I'm going out of my way to force myself and train myself to use it. And the game is constantly telling you, hey, practice. There's no shame in practicing. There's no shame in training. There's no shame in, hey, sit here and practice these combos. Sit here and learn what you can do with your weapons and how you can exploit people and do things. And even 20 hours into the game, I'm still like teaching myself how to be better at being at defense, be better at counterattacks, be better at taking advantage of enemies whenever they're doing things to me. And it feels so good. This is spoilers. I'm not even this far in the game right here. But yeah, no, Ninja Gaiden 4 right now is like an 8 or 9 out of 10 for me. I'll have a full review out for it soon. What are reviewers saying for it? They are about the same, 8. Bloody good combat carries Ninja Gaiden 4 through its most granular and extraneous modern auditions. Team Ninja and Platinum Games collaboration on Ninja Gaiden 4 is a stunning return to form. Anytime I hear Games Journal Media say return to form, it scares me, especially since Dragon Age Veilguard. But I do agree. I can't fully agree because I've only played Ninja Gaiden Black, but it feels it's very nostalgic giving of Ninja Gaiden Black, and I did fall in love with the cast and characters, because they did such a good job putting it all together. Platinum clearly understands what to make the series. I thought there was a collaboration with Team Ninja. Make the series so special and it's done an incredible job building a razor sharp formula that we've all been missing for nearly a decade. I agree. George Foster. I said almost the exact same thing. You would almost think I pre-read this. I didn't, though. This is my first time reading these. Despite its disappointing story, I disagree with IGN, but I also think it can feel disappointing if you're looking at it not as a writer. Then yeah, it can probably come off as disappointing, but I disagree wholeheartedly. This is not a disappointing story. And bland level design. Disappointing story, bland level design, 8 out of 10. That sounds like it should be like a 6 or 7 out of 10. Ninja Gaiden 4, bland level design. Do I think the level design's bland? Not really. I mean, like, It depends on what you're considering level design. If you're considering how I'm getting from point A to point B, then yes. But there's so many different enemies. Not as many as Ninja Gaiden Black, but there's a variety of enemies that constantly challenge you. And then what they do is they set up, they say, hey, this is how you're going to handle something. And then as the level progresses, they slowly hint or slowly challenge that initial encounter to the point where it's at it. You're like, man, I really hope. Like, they had these guys that were essentially cannons, and they were these big dudes that were cannons that would just shoot you. And like in the beginning, you're like, okay, you have to deal with them. Oh, they have a lot of range. I gotta close the distance so I can kill them. And you're like thinking to yourself, man, I really hope I don't have to deal with one of these guys from a distance while I have to deal with a bunch of people. And by the end of the level, that's exactly what happens. You have the dude on a completely different part of the map that isn't easy to get to, and you have a bunch of dudes swarming you. And so you can either take on those dudes and avoid those shots, or if you're really good, deflect those shots and hit them right back at the enemy. I was not that good, which again shows how hard and how fulfilling this game is to play. Or do what I did, ignore those guys, go through the map, kill that guy, kill those guys that come chasing you. So like, I feel like that's just like a basic, like, fundamental game design, especially in linear games. Like, show the encounter, then increasingly make the encounter tougher and tougher, so that the player isn't just thrown into the deep end, but they've gradually learned how to swim and float. To me, that comes off as good level design, but I don't know what he means by level design. He probably explains it in his full review. He still gave it an 8 out of 10 despite that criticism, so we'll just go past it. Ninja Gaiden 4 brings the series back with a bang. Again, yes, I agree. If Ninja Gaiden 2 and or Black was considered the best out of the whole series, something had to have happened for them to stray away from Black. And for me to say that this feels like Ninja Gaiden Black, I think I can agree with these people that say it's brought it back. Ninja Gaiden 4 features the brutality challenge combat the series is known for, though its story and level design. What is this level design? I need to know what they mean by level design. Is there something I need to broaden my perspective? Just real quick, let's see if we can find it. Berserk meter. You didn't even talk about level design. Where's the level design? From bland new lead character story has never been selling point. What follows is the story's okay. Again, it's not over the top. It's not like God of War storytelling. I'll give it that. I agree with them, but fundamentally, it's like, no, it's not the selling point, but it does the job. You get to a couple of chapters. Spoilers. I'm willing to forgive the action. All of that may sound brutal, but Yokoma's toolset is the secret sauce is the aggression. I agree. None of this is new. I feel like I'm wasting time now and ruining the end of this video, so I don't even see him talking about it. Action is pristine. There's couple. There's new side quests. Maybe I'm missing it because I'm skimming through everything. I don't even see him talking about it. But either way, Ninja Gaiden, I definitely agree, is basically a solid 8 out of 10 right now for me. Could be a 9 out of 10. Check out the full review. But this has been Mario Roundup. 1 hour and 30 minutes. Not bad. Thank you all for listening. That was like a lot of games that we talked about. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Almost 10 games. Almost 10 games. Maybe next time I'll try to keep it like 10 minutes per game. Maybe. We'll try. But all right, YouTube and all those. Until next time, play nice.